All right, vinyl community, what's happening? How are you guys? What's up? My name is Andrew. Um, this is my introduction video to the vinyl community. I've been watching your guys' videos for about a year now. I've been collecting records since about 2012, 2013, give or take, pretty seriously since then. On and off, I think people kind of, you go through phases where you like really feel like spending money on records, and some where you're like, "Well, I really gotta cut back." But I've been buying records pretty regularly since about then, with a couple, purchased, before I even had a turntable in 2010 or 11 or whatever, kind of, when a bunch of record stores started popping up. That's when my local record store here, Ka-Chunk, opened up. I'm based in Maryland. And like I said, I've been watching your guys' videos for a while, just to name drop some people whose channels I really love. Dylan over at Noble Records. I watch every video you put out. Norman Maslov, Mazzy. Same with you. Love your videos, man. A bunch of other great channels, Robert Fithin, Vinyl Low, The Record Spinner, Omaha Introvert, and a bunch more. Just really love your guys' videos. And really have helped me to fall back in love with my collection over the last year, and fall back in love with, going out and finding new music and buying records and all that. So yeah, I don't need to say any more about that. I'm sure all you already know about that. So without further ado, I just grabbed a couple things off the shelf that I thought would be a good, introduction set of, pieces of music to kind of give you a broad strokes of who I am as a music fan. I've been in love with music for as long as I can remember. I make music myself. So, this doesn't cover everything, obviously, but I figured we'd get started with some things. So the first thing I'm going to show, and you can probably see the CDs behind me. I don't really collect CDs. I buy a few every now and again. I'm not going to show CDs on this channel too often, but the first one I wanted to show was this. And I'm showing this because this was, as far as my records show, the first, piece of physical music I bought, with my own money. This is Trouble by Akon. It's a whatever album. It's Akon. It's got some catchy songs on it, but, this was, the first, my family was driving to Kentucky for a family reunion. You figure Kentucky to Maryland is Maryland to Kentucky is a pretty long haul. So, we stopped at a Walmart or something before we got going, and, I think I'm looking at this track list: Locked Up, Belly Dancer, Mr. Lonely. Just heaters were playing at the, I'm sure, the middle school dances when I was buying this record, and, this CD rather. So anyway, I probably haven't listened to this. I don't even have the back. At some point my parents got, those little folders or binders or whatever where you could put CDs in, and they would just take the front sleeve or, the front booklet and the CD and put it in there and throw out the rest, I guess. So I wrote the track list on there in Sharpie. Maybe I'm trying to use this channel as a way to like, each record I show, before I record, I want to listen to it just as a kind of way to go back and discover some of the records I have that I haven't listened to in a while. I didn't listen to this one, but anyway, Akon's Trouble. Okay, and then this next one, so I wanted to try and think of what my favorite album or whatever of all time was, and that's, I'm sure as all of you can attest, a pretty impossible task. But this one's a contender for me. This is Faces. I'm sorry, I'll get better hopefully at framing these. I don't know if this is, can you see this? Does that look good? I hope so. This is Faces by Mac Miller. This is a bootleg. It was, unfortunately, it's a mixtape. It was never pressed officially, nor is it on streaming or anything. And I do have some bootlegs in my collection. I'm a big Mac Miller fan. He's kind of, the only artist I'm a completist in. It's one of those things where when he put out his, you know, first couple projects. I found him, and, you know, he was similar in age. I was getting real into hip hop music. I'd been introduced to hip hop by a cousin a lot earlier. You know, stuff like Eminem and Cameron. I love Cameron. You know, big into the Dipset scene and all that. But, you know, Mac's generation was kind of the first generation that I felt like was mine. I felt like with all his projects, you know, I was growing up along with him. He really kind of blossomed into becoming a great musician. There was a couple years where I didn't really listen to what he was putting out as much, you know, Blue Slide Park, all that. But this album is really special to me. It's one that I would throw on. I went to school in South Carolina, so I had about an 8-hour drive to and from there when I would come home for a break or whatever. I would always just listen to this all the way through. There's a track list. And, you know, I think this is just a great record. It personally means a lot to me, but I also think the music on here is pretty great. Again, it's a bootleg. I do collect bootlegs. I don't seek them out necessarily, except for, you know, some of the Mac stuff, but, you know, I know it sucks that it, you know, has to be kind of in a way that the artist doesn't get money. So my compromise, especially for the Mac stuff, is I try to donate to his Circles Foundation, because I know that I do have a couple of bootlegs where his, you know, family or his estate or whatever isn't making money off those purchases, which I completely agree is, you know, not a great thing. So I you know, I'm cognizant of that. But that was an album for the longest time, you know, I was like, if that ever gets pressed on vinyl, that's an instant buy for me. And, you know, unfortunately, after he passed is when kind of all these bootlegs of his started popping up. So it sucks, but, you know, I'm happy to have that on vinyl. I have a pretty eclectic taste in music. I don't know a lot about a lot, but, you know, I feel like I'm learning something new every day watching vinyl community videos. But, you know, this record is one that kind of sums up my childhood, I guess. My dad had this on CD. This is Neil Young live at Massey Hall in 1971. Like I said, my dad had this on CD in his truck. You know, so these songs are just burned into my mind. This, I think, kind of, you see that, really helped develop my taste for live music. I just thought it was so cool, you know, on this album when Neil's kind of performing and he says, you know, before he goes into, is it Old Man or maybe Heart of Gold or something, the man needs a maid, Heart of Gold suite. He's like, I'm going to play all new songs tonight. And like, as a music fan, you know, when you're, you know, maybe at a concert or something and an artist says, hey, I'm going to be playing mostly new stuff tonight, you're kind of like, oh man, like, I'm not familiar with these songs, like, I'm here for the hits kind of thing. And, you know, that's what Neil was doing in 71, but, you know, with songs that would become some of his most definitive, like Old Man, and like I said, you know, he did A Man Needs a Maid and A Heart of Gold in his suite, and this was 71, so I think, I don't know the history exactly, so please feel free to throw it in the comments, but I think around that time, you know, there was a couple legs of that tour he was on, and maybe between legs, I think he released After the Gold Rush. So like all those, you know, classic Neil Young songs, it's just funny because, you know, I was wondering, hey, what's this audience thinking when he says he's going to play, you know, a bunch of new songs, but meanwhile they're, would become, you know, timeless hits. Maybe they knew. I'm sure they knew after they heard them. Sip my coffee there. This next one is a newish pickup. It just came out, really. It's a 7-inch of Wind in My Sails by Earl Sweatshirt. It's an Alchemist craft single produced by The Alchemist. I'm showing this because Earl is one of my favorite rappers, and Alchemist is probably my favorite producer of all time. He really inspired me to become a producer. So I kind of moonlight as a producer engineer. And, you know, I kind of was thinking about, you know, I don't really want to make this channel a plug for my own music, so I'm not really going to do that. But maybe what I'll do is at the end of the videos, I'll, you know, maybe if I have a song that came out or something, maybe I'll throw it on at the end of the video. So if you're interested, you can stick around. If not, no big deal. But this is great, you know. these craft singles that Alchemist drops are, you know, notoriously hard to get a hold of. I was just had, you know, saw this was coming out, set an alarm, and was able to secure it. I mean, just what a great song. Wind in My Sails. You know, Earl, just his wordplay. I love it. I mean, you know, Moses with the makeshift staff sending ripples through you. I mean, just I love that cover. This is number 243 out of 500. So, Alchemist, one of my favorite producers, really inspired me to make music. So did Mac, and so did Earl. You know, those guys. That was kind of, like I said, when I started making music, was kind of in that era, 2013, when they started putting stuff out. This one's a shout out just to Noble Records really quick, to Dylan, because he kind of, you know, introduced me to Peter Green's Fleetwood Mac. You know, I, for whatever reason, didn't know that history of the band, didn't know that era of the band. And he, you know, he had mentioned the debut album, 1968, Peter Green's Fleetwood Mac. And I got that. I bought that online. This one I found in the wild. So, you know, this is the, it's a comp. It's called the Pious Birds of Good Omen. Pious? I don't know. You tell me. It's a comp. I think it's their first, you know, collection of their first couple albums. But, you know, if you don't know, I'm sure you do. Before Buckingham Nicks got involved in Fleetwood Mac, they were a pretty filthy electric blues band under this guy, Peter Green, until about 1970, I guess. And, you know, fun fact, Black Magic Woman is a Fleetwood Mac song made famous by, obviously, Santana. I had no idea until Dylan, you know, kind of went over that. I mean, just what a killer record. This is you know, an original British UK pressing that I found at a local record store called Vintage Vinyl in Arnold, Maryland. It's kind of like this really great best kept secret hidden gem store. So, you know, hopefully if anyone in the area is watching this and you hear about it, look up Vintage Vinyl. They're great there, and they have a killer selection. So I was real happy to find this. Great comp. And then this last one, I figured this one was kind of a good way to, you know, this kind of way to introduce myself. I'm a big fan of the Grateful Dead. More recent Deadhead, but I'm in pretty deep. The way I got into the Dead, I had always been a casual fan, you know, Friend of the Devil, who doesn't love that song? I knew, you know, all the kind of hits, a lot of the Working Man's Dead, American Beauty stuff. And my uncle Chris was actually a huge, like, Deadhead from, like, you know, right at the start, followed them around on tour, all that. And when he passed, I got a bunch of his tapes, which are right here. I never really had a tape deck. When I got one, I played them. They kind of sounded like trash, you know, they're super muddy cassette, fan recording stuff. But, you know, I kind of found a couple that I really liked. And, you know, I jumped into the rabbit hole then and kind of haven't hit the bottom yet. So I'll probably end up doing a video later on my Grateful Dead stuff. But I don't have a lot, I don't think, compared to like most people, but I'm trying. So this is an interesting story. And before I show it, I'll give you a little bit of a backstory to this story. I ordered, you know, the Stanford, California, you know, the 88, you know, spring or whatever of 88, 3 record set, online, and when it came, it was just soaked. The package was soaking wet. You know, the whole jacket was ruined. The cardboard was soaked through. There was a couple inserts of poster soaked through. I was so disappointed. And it was one of those things where I was like, well, I could return it, but the records were still fine, you know, and I didn't know if I would be able to. I'm sure you could find, you know, these all over the place or whatever, but I was like, hey man, like, the records are still good. I'll show you the records here. They're on nice colored wax, blue, white, and orange there. I mean, but there's the records, I mean, they got wet, but they still play just fine. So I decided to kind of do what a lot of the, you know, bootleggers do and just made my own cover for it. So there's the front, and I'll kind of talk a little bit about it. The back, I wrote out the track list, and here's the inside. So I put a bunch of stickers on. So I had this old live Leonard Skinner album sitting around. It's like 80s Leonard Skinner, so it's not Leonard Skinner that anyone would really be interested in owning a record of. And, you know, on the inside, there's this, you know, picture of you can kind of see it peeking through, of a Confederate flag. So I figured, you know what, I'll toss those records. I'll take this jacket. You know, I think that, you know, anytime you can kind of get rid of one Confederate flag in the world, you know, it's a step in the right direction. So I'm not quite finished covering it up with stickers, but that's the goal. This kind of a live project. And I'll just talk about a couple here. I'm hoping this is still in frame, at least most of it. So this one I'll start with is a sticker. It's a portrait of Ahmaud Arbery, who was, you know, I'm sure as most of you know, killed earlier this year by, you know, some so-called vigilantes. And my friend Lindsay Carpenter made that sticker, and she was selling them with the proceeds going towards, you know, a fund for Ahmaud Arbery. So I bought a couple of those, and those are great. So thank you, Lindsay, for that. I mean, this is just a great, I bought this at Ka-Chunk, this United States Postal Service, this machine kills fascists, you know, USPS Woody Guthrie crossover we never knew we needed. But I thought that was great. This was an insert that came with the original record. It got a little wet, but I was able to dry it off, so I stuck it in there. You know, a lot of these, I was originally just going to do Grateful Dead stickers, but I have since kind of expanded on that concept. But there's a lot of, you know, Grateful Dead stickers over here. This is a Dead & Company sticker from Halloween of last year, 2019, which was my first Dead & Company show. It just kind of took me a while to get around to going to see them. My girlfriend and I went and saw them at Madison Square Garden. They did 2 nights, Halloween and the following night. And we had tickets for Halloween. They were kind of expensive, so I just got one night. And, you know, we got back to the hotel after the show and woke up the next day. And I was kind of like, there's no way I'm not going to be back in Madison Square Garden tonight for night 2. So I was able to get tickets at like half the price of what I paid for the first night. They were behind the stage, but we got this incredible, you know, they didn't have a screen, so, you know, behind the band. So we got this incredible view of the backstage area and the band. And there was, you know, giant, obviously, TV screens where we could see everything that was happening from the front. It was great. Night 2, they brought out Maggie Rogers for Friend of the Devil, and later to do The Wait for the encore. And, you know, my girl, you know, when John Mayer said, you know, please welcome special guest Maggie Rogers, my girlfriend kind of screamed. And that was nice because, you know, she's not, you know, she's not a deadhead. She loves John Mayer. So I kind of had an in with getting her into the music through that. But, you know, just to have Maggie Rogers there made it really special. You know, I'm sure for her, the whole thing was special for me, but I'm sure that made it special for her. So that's from that. One more I'll show. This is a sticker right here. It looks a little out of place for this kind of vibe. But this is a sticker from an album called The Face of Jason by Uncle John. Uncle John, spelled Anklejohn, is an underground DC rapper. He's incredible. If you're a fan of like the Griselda stuff, look up Uncle John, and his you know, his affiliation to Shop Records, SHAAP Records is the name of his you know, kind of little label that they've started, him and Raheem Supreme and DJ Mastermind. I mean, it's just great, you know, filthy underground hip hop music. And this is his most recent album, The Face of Jason. I know I'm holding this probably a little low, so here that is. And I think he's put out a couple mixtapes since, but that's his last album. And that's special to me because I actually produced a track on it. So give the album a listen, and if you're into that kind of thing, hope you enjoy it. So yeah, here is my Grateful Dead, Stanford, California, 1988, self-made. It's not a bootleg, but I made it one to salvage a wet package. Dwight Schrute on the cover. I think Lively Vibes on Instagram is who's to shout out for that, and kind of like the there's Bobby Hill, and some of the, they have great stickers. King of the Hill. I have the Bobby Hill shirt. He's on it. It's fucking hilarious. Anyway, there's that. There's the track list. So I thought that was a cool little, thing. I had a couple things in there to kind of explain who I am and kind of what I'm into. But that's that. So thanks for watching. If you're for some reason still here, I appreciate it, and hope to do a lot more of these. This was fun. So peace.
Around your city, bling bling. Every time I come around your city, bling bling.
Garage is the phantom, ghouls, ghosts, and goblins. Blonde mohawk, the collection. I'm Dennis Rodman. The money count is the only moment of silence, 'cause hush money balances all this drugs and violence.